The day after Bill Cosby refused to answer questions on NPR about multiple sexual assault allegations that have recently become public again, another woman has come forward with an incident from her past involving the actor. Publicist Joan Tarshis wrote an essay for Hollywood Elsewhere on Sunday, recounting 2 times that Cosby raped her in 1969 when she was 19 years old. Tarshis, who was trying to build a writing career in the business, writes that she had flown to Los Angeles from New York. She was staying with 2 friends who took her to have lunch with Cosby at Cottage at Universal Studios, where he was shooting The Bill Cosby Show. He never drank alcohol, she writes, but he always topped my Bloody Marys with beer, which he called a redeye. She writes that Cosby seemed to like her and so he kept inviting her back. I was naturally flattered. One day he asked her to stay after the sitcom shooting and work on some material. I was even more flattered and thought this would help move my writing career along. In his bungalow he made me a redeye, and I began to tell him about the earthquake Los Angeles had just had and the sound it made. He liked my ideas for an earthquakes bit. The next thing I remember was Cummington on his couch while being undressed. Through the haze I thought I was being clever when I told him I had an infection and he would catch it and his wife would know he had sex with someone. But he just found another orifice to use. I was sickened by what was happening to me and shocked that this man I had idolized was now raping me. Of course I told no one. Tarshis goes on to write of another incident in which she agreed to go to the Westbury Music Theatre with him. She was first taken to his Sherry Netherland hotel suite where she noticed his leather shaving kit was filled with bottles of pills. He was, of course, very friendly and I, of course, was very uncomfortable. He made me a redeye, and I, being nervous and dealing at the time with an alcohol problem, I've been in recovery since 1988, drank it. In the car I had something else to drink, but was already beginning to feel a bit stoned. She got to the theater and began feeling woozy. She wound up going back to the limo. The next thing I remember was waking up in his bed back at the Sherry, naked. I remember thinking, you old, expletive, I guess you got me this time, but it's the last time you'll ever see me. Tarshis says it took her 20 years to reveal it to anyone. But during those years as I grew into adulthood, I watched Cosby be praised by everyone from presidents to Oprah to the Jello Corporation. It all made me ill, knowing firsthand there was something unbalanced about him. I had heard and or strongly suspected I was not the only white girl he had drugged and raped, but I never had any proof. No one began talking until 2004. And though I knew I should say something, I still felt ashamed. Ashamed that I didn't earlier. Her story follows a first-person essay in the Washington Post last week by artist Barbara Bowman, who writes of being a 17-year-old aspiring actress in 1985, when Cosby brainwashed me into viewing him as a father figure, and then assaulted me multiple times. She, too, says she was drugged and raped. In one case, I blacked out after having dinner and 1 glass of wine at his New York City brownstone, where he had offered to mentor me and discuss the entertainment industry. When I came to, I was in my panties and a man's t-shirt, and Cosby was looming over me. I'm certain now that he drugged and raped me. But as a teenager, I tried to convince myself I had imagined it. Cosby's lawyer, John P. Schmidt, issued a statement Sunday in Bill Cosby will not dignify a decade-old, discredited claims of sexual abuse with a response. In 2006, Cosby settled a civil suit with another woman, Andrea Constad, who accused him of sexual assault, according to the Associated Press. She claimed in her filing that 13 more victims were ready to come forward. One of them was Bowman. On Monday, the lawyer attempted clarification, issuing a joint statement with Constad's lawyer. The statement was not intended to refer in any way to Andrea Constad. As previously reported, differences between Mr. Cosby and Miss Constad were resolved to the mutual satisfaction of Mr. Cosby and Miss Constad years ago, it reads.